Whoa, we're back at last. Well, I had a fun vacation. Well, to Vegas. Back in June at least. Well, it's July. And today we're going to review another great Xbox game. Today's great Xbox game will be Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. This game was made by THQ. Well, I wouldn't say made, more like published and made by Eurocom. Unfortunately, this game doesn't have a sequel. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's play this son of a bitch. Okay, the story works out like this. In the middle, that's Sphinx's master. And then on the left, you see there, that is Sphinx. Sphinx is based off of, well, a Sphinx in Egypt. That's Sphinx. He's based off of that pretty much. He's even got a tail. Furries go wild. Anyway, point is, you gotta find the Blade of Osiris and bring it back to Sphinx's master. However, and this is the crazy part, shit goes down. And now this game is an interesting mix of history and of fiction, as I'm about to show you. I have to be really honest, this game sort of plays like Legend of Zelda a bit. But gameplay is sort of like that. In the corner you got your button layout there. Obviously, A is to jump. Later on, you'll have extra abilities like somersaulting, and when you get a sword, you can attack. And you have special abilities, which I'm about to show up. All the abilities will be stored in that little item box there. Then you can store into L and R, yeah, L and R basically. Anyway, I will admit, the graphics do look very nice, especially for 2003 video game on the Xbox and GameCube and PS2. Some of the animations on some of the little plants there look pretty good. And with Sphinx's tails always going around everywhere, it's actually pretty interesting. Well, it's pretty impressive like that. They just always have to do that. And there's some challenges in this game, like right here. You have to go and do this lava tunnel, which is said easier than done. Anywho. But, yeah, that can happen. But don't worry, my friends. You'll always live. Because Sphinx lives with one little bit of life. Luckily, too, because you would fucking die in real life if that would ever happen. Obviously. Well, anyway, let's cut on to more okay, for the sake of the review, I'm going to show a simple combat part. Right here, we can open the treasure chest. Then, what do we collect? A mysterious amulet. And then here we can show off the combat. Pressing the B button will pretty much let you do attacks. You can mix and match, press B once, twice, 3 times. Jumping in... Oh, and jumping in the air is this. But this is just a simple combat part. Combat later on in the game gets very challenging. So don't fear. It's just an easy part. The rest of the game will get harder and harder as it goes along. And more challenging. Now for the review, I'm going to actually talk about this part. This is an interesting way of traveling in the entire game. You collect more of these amulets as you find, just like earlier in the clip. And you go to these amulet guides. Basically, you just give them an amulet, and you can travel anywhere that you have the amulet for. These little lion-looking head things that look like, well, monkey sphinxes. I don't know why, but it kind of does. Look at it real carefully. But point is, there are your save points. You can save the game there just by pressing the X button. Or whatever button you have on your controllers for different versions. And it's simple like that. Just saved. That's it. And now, next we're gonna talk about Sphinx's gameplay. I mean, not Sphinx's. What the hell am I talking about? I mean the Mummy. This is where the historical reference comes into play. Basically, this part of the game I'm about to show you is where you get to take control of the next character you can play as. King Tutankhamun, aka King Tut, aka for the game, the Cursed Mummy. Yes, that's right, King Tut and his young self. You could jump around as him, or grab some stuff and move it. And since he's living the rich life, well, he's got his servants to do what he needs to be done. Yeah, this is an interesting part of the game. I've never seen many games try to use many historical references. Some games try, but not really noticeable. But this is a really interesting one of them all. But next thing you know, something bad will happen. And that's where the cursed mummy will come into play. Now, in some levels of Sphinx, you also have to go through cities, sort of like Legend of Zelda. In some of these cities, you'll have to do quests. Well, sort of quite quests. For example, in this museum, all the jewels have been stolen. Or you can donate some animals as well. So if you do this stuff, you might be able to help out this museum a little bit. You never know, you might get a reward at the end. So that pretty much leaves the player to go back around the entire world of Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy to go look for any jewels or save up money to go collect more monsters, such as these. I did not give these to the museum, they were already here. But yeah, there's some little small quests like this. And if you also give him the first animal, you get a little zipline handle. It's this game, I will actually admit, it's sort of like Legend of Zelda to me. You do stuff, you get little rewards that you normally could not do, or you learn something that you could never do before. So yeah, it's really nice, and sometimes the rewards were really good. Well, anyway, oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention about the zipline. Oh yeah, that's a little shield. Like I said, you collect power-ups and other stuff throughout the game as Sphinx. So that way you can progress through the game and using different attacks, different weapons, so on and so forth. But I want to also make a mention. The zipline, you're thinking, oh fuck, I'm stuck out here. What do I do? Oh, simple, really, just do this. Yeah, honestly, it's like what Army 21 on his review of Demon Sword. With that Victar guy, gravity is Victar's bitch, like Arme has said. And ziplines are Sphinx's bitch. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So if you're ever stuck on something like this in the game, do not fear. That's awesome. End of story. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this to anyone yet, but the graphics do look very well done and still rich in detail. The land looks nice, and the character models do look really good. Also, the sound. The music you're hearing is really entertaining to me, at least. I don't know about you guys, but it's really well done and really well made. And also, some of the sound that you hear throughout the entire game is also really good. The only problem I have with sound, though, is that you only hear grunts and moans from bad guys and characters and such. There's almost completely no voice acting at all, which is unfortunate. I'm guessing they did not add voice acting because this was made by company Eurocom, which, by the title, are obviously and also from Europe. Anyway, next up is replayability. Now, the Mummy's gameplay is, well, at an earlier point of the game, you played as Prince Tutankhamun, aka King Tut. Now, as the Mummy, he plays just like him. And this time, you're in a totally different place. And also, no, you're far away from Sphinx, so don't think they're going to be able to talk to each other or make acquaintances at all at this point. But as you can see, his basic stuff is pretty simple. He can't attack at all, so don't plan on... And there's no fights at all, pretty much, unless you find some other certain abilities to use against enemies. Yes, ability, that's what the Mummy's good thing is for. He solves more puzzles than he does try to do combat with anything. So, let me show you some of these powers.